Hey kids, it's me, Teacher A. Let me help you on geometric sequences. Alright? Okay, let's start. Let's have these sequences of numbers. What do you notice? May pattern, right? Let's have example number 1. What is the pattern? How do you get the next number? Here, how do you get 4 from 2? How do you get 8 from 4? And so on. Diba ang dali? Paano? How do we do that? We simply multiply this term by 2. Right? 2 times 2, you get 4. Diba? 4 times 2, you get 8. And so on, right? You simply multiply this term or the preceding term to get the next term. Okay? So if I ask you, what will be the next term here? It will be 64 times 2. And what do you get? You will get 128. Diba? What about the second example? How do you get the next term? What do you do? So, kapag hindi masyadong obvious, kapag hindi nyo agad alam kung ano ba yung i-multiply ko to get the next term, you may do this. This term divided by ito. Okay? So, parang if I name this as A1, this is the first term, this is the second term, this is the third term, and this is going to be the fourth term. Okay? So, to get the number that you have to multiply to get the next term, all you have to do is to get this ratio. Okay? You have a sub 2 divided by a sub 1. You may also want to get a sub 3 divided by a sub 2. You may also want to get a sub 4 divided by a sub 3. And you know what? You will get the same value. Okay? They are all equal to 1 over 5. Okay? So, you multiply 50 by 1 over 5, you will get 10. You multiply 10 by 1 over 5, you will get 2. And so on. Okay? So, if I ask you, what is the next number after 2/5? So, all you have to do is to multiply 2/5 by 1 over 5. So, what do you get? You will get, multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. And what do you get? You will get 2 over 25. Okay? Okay. And then finally, we have this third example. Sige nga, what is the next number? It is 10,000. Okay? What do you multiply to get the next number? You multiply the preceding term by 10. Right? 10 times 10, you get 100. 100 times 10, you get 1,000. 1,000 times 10, you will get 10,000. Right? So, if you have this kind of sequence, okay, kapag may mga ganito kayong sequences of numbers, what do I mean by that? Yung nakukuha yung next term by multiplying a constant. Okay, tingnan nyo. So, number 1, you are just multiplying 2. Sa second example, you are just multiplying 1/5. At sa third example, we are just multiplying 10. So, kapag may mga ganyan tayong sequences of numbers, ang tawag dyan ay geometric progression. Alright? Okay, so we will be dealing with some examples involving geometric progression. Okay, let's consider these notations. Yung a sub n, That's your nth term. So if you have, for example, you have a sub 1. So that means this is your first term. A sub 2, this is your second term, and so on. Alright? And then R, this is what you call your common ratio. Ito yung minumultiply ninyo to get the next term. Ito yung minumultiply nyo sa preceding term to get the next term. Okay? So here, we're going to derive a formula na pwede natin gamitin to get the nth term of a geometric progression. Okay? So, here we have a sub 1, right? How do we get a sub 2? Sige nga, how do we get a sub 2? Diba? We simply multiply a sub 1 by r, right? Diba? That's how we get the second term. We simply multiply the first term by the common ratio. What about the third term? How do we get the third term? Di syempre, yung preceding term, that's a sub 2, you multiply it by r, right? Okay, so we can still write this in terms of a sub 1 and r. How do we do that? Saan ba equal ang a sub 2? Saan equal? Ito yung a sub 2. Your a sub 2 is equal to a1 times r. So I'm going to replace a sub 2 here by a sub 1 times r. So let me do that. So I'm going to have a sub 1 times r. So this is a sub 2. But don't forget, you have an extra r here. So I'm going to write it here. Okay? So, simplifying, what do we get? We get a sub 1 times r squared. Nakakakita na ba kayo ng pattern? Like, your a sub 2 is equal to a sub 1 times r. And then, your a sub 3, that one is equal to a sub 1 times r squared. Okay? So, isa pa. Let's try a sub 4. A sub 4 is equal to what? How do you get the fourth term? Diba? Equal yan sa third term multiplied by r. Right? Pero saan equal ang a sub 3? Ang a sub 3, that one is equal to this one. Right? So, I'm going to replace a sub 3 by a sub 1 r squared. So, let me do that. That one. So, this is your a sub 3. But, don't forget, you have an r here. So, I'm just going to copy it here. You have r. So, simplifying, what do you get? You will get a sub 1 r cubed. This is the formula to get a sub 4. So, do you see a pattern now? How do you get a sub n? It is a sub 1, yeah, the first term, times r. What is going to be the exponent of r? What do you notice? If we're looking for a sub 3, the exponent of r is 2. If we're looking for a sub 4, the exponent of r is 3. So, nagma-minus 1 lang tayo. So, therefore, if we're looking for a sub n, the exponent of r is n minus 1. Okay? So, this is the general formula in getting the nth term of a geometric progression. Okay? So, please memorize this formula. Let's have this example. You were asked to get the 8th term of the geometric sequence. So, let's try to use the formula. What is the formula again? It is a sub n equals a sub 1 r raised to n minus 1. Diba? We're looking for a sub 8. So, this one is equal to a1 r raised to n is 8. So, 8 minus 1, you have 7. Okay? So, let's compute. What is a sub 1? It's 1. To. That's A sub 1. Okay? What is R? Meaning, anong minumultiply to get the next term? It is 4. Right? And then, raised to 7. You're lucky if you're allowed to use calculators. Pero kung hindi, you have to manually compute 4 raised to 7. What do you mean by that? 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. Okay? And what do you get? You will get 16,384. Pag geometric sequence, small numbers lang usual ang binibigay, especially if you're not allowed to use calculators. So that's how you use the formula. This formula. Okay? Pero minsan, kunyari, ito, 8 term lang naman ang hinahanap, pwede nyo tong i-manually compute. What do I mean by that? Di ba nakita nyo, times 4 lang naman to. Okay? Times 4. So, you do it. Like, 16 times 4, what do you get? 24, carry 2, and then you get 64. So, you'll have 64 here. Okay? And then multiply again by 4, you will get 16, carry 1. 4 times 6, 24, you will get 256. So, you have 256 here. Okay? And then you continue, multiply again by 4, you will get 4 times 6, 24, carry 2. 4 times 5, you get 20, 22, carry 2, 4 times 2, 8, and then you have this one. This is 1,024. Okay? And then you continue until you get the 8th term. Pwede yan. Okay, one note. Let's say this one, this sequence of numbers forms a geometric progression. Okay, let me just write GP. Okay, so that forms a geometric progression. Okay, so again, di ba you have A sub 1. How do you get A sub 2? You have A1 times R. Right? What about A sub 3? How do you get A sub 3? You have A sub 2 times R. Right? And so on. Okay, here, sige nga, how do you compute for R? It is, so you divide both sides by A sub 1 and you will get R. You'll have A sub 2 divided by A sub 1. Right? Dito. Saan equal ang R? You divide both sides by A sub 2. So, magkakancel ang A sub 2. So, saan equal ang R? It is A sub 3 divided by A sub 2. Okay, let's have this example. So we are asked to find the value of k so that these 3 numbers here will form a geometric progression. Ano ba ang alam natin sa geometric progression? They have a common ratio, right? So let's say this is A sub 1, this is A sub 2, and this is A sub 3. Okay? How do we get the common ratio? Do you still recall? Okay. So, R is equal to, it can be equal to A sub 2 divided by A sub 1, or pwede rin, A sub 3 divided by A sub 2. Okay? And then, isa-substitute lang natin yung mga value dito ni A sub 1, A sub 2, at A sub 3. Okay? Let's do it. So, we have k minus 5 for A sub 2. Our A sub 1 is 2k plus 5. And this is equal to, your A sub 3 is k minus 9 over your A sub 2 is k minus 5. Okay? And we do the math. We do the algebra. Okay? We cross multiply. Okay? And we get k minus 5 times k minus 5 equals k minus 9 times 2k plus 5. Okay? And then, you apply the FOIL method. You still recall FOIL method? Okay, gawin natin siya dito. Dito muna sa right-hand side. FOIL, first term. So, you get 2k squared. O, outer terms. So, you have k times 5, you will have 5k. Inner terms, you'll get negative 18k. And then finally, the last terms, you will have negative 45. Okay? What about on the other side? You may use FOIL or you recall square of a binomial. Ito. A minus B square. Diba equal yan sa A minus B times A minus B. Right? Okay, and there's a formula. Ang gawin nyo lang daw, you square the first term minus, pag multiply nyo itong dalawang to, so that's A times B, then times 2. So that's why we have 2AB. And then finally, plus square nung second. So, B squared. Okay? We're going to follow this formula. Okay? So, this is equal to K minus 5 square. So, sabi dito, A squared. Your A here is K. So, that's why we have K squared. And then minus, multiply this. You have 5K. 5 times K. You have 5K times 2. You'll get 10K. And then finally, you square this, which is equal to 25. Alright? So, how to solve this? We make one side equal to 0. How? We transpose everything to the other side. For example, itong k squared, dadaling ko siya dito. So, I have positive 2k squared. If I transpose this to the other side, it becomes negative. So, we'll have 2k squared minus k squared. So, we only have 1k squared. Okay? What about for the k's? You have 5k minus 18k. What do you get here? You will get negative 13k. So, you have negative 13k here. And then, I transpose this to the other side. So, it becomes positive 10k sa other side. So, I have negative 13k plus 10k. You will only get minus 3k. And then, what about the constants? I have negative 45. And if I transpose positive 25 to this side, it becomes negative 25. So, I'll have negative 45 minus 25, you add them because they have the same sign. So, you will get minus 70. And then, you apply your vast knowledge in factoring. Okay? So, you have k here and k here. Okay? So, think of factors of k squared minus 3k minus 70. I think it's gonna be this one. Okay? So, you have k minus 10 times k plus 7. So, what are the values of k now? The values of k can be positive 10 or negative 7. Okay? So, ano na kaya ang itsura ng ating sequence of numbers? Let's go back to the problem. So, ang nasolve natin na values of k, pwedeng 10 or pwede daw ang k equals sa negative 7. Okay? So, dalawa yung possible sequence of numbers natin. Let's try k equals 10. What is a sub 1 when k equals 10? So, 2 times 10, that's 20, plus 5, you get 25. What's the next number? This is 10. 10 minus 5, you get 5. And then what's the third number? 10 minus 9, you get 1. Okay? What about the second sequence of numbers? We try k equals negative 7. So, 2 times negative 7, you'll get negative 14. Negative 14 plus 5, you'll get negative 9. Right? Okay, here. Negative 7 minus 5, you'll get negative 12. Okay? And then finally here, if we let k be equal to negative 7, negative 7 minus 9, what do you get? Negative 16. Alright? Okay. So, can you give me the common ratio? Okay, here. Ano ang common ratio dito? Sige nga. How do we get the common ratio? It is a sub 2 divided by a sub 1 or a sub 3 divided by a sub 2. So, pwedeng to 1 divided by 5. You'll get 1/5. Or 5 divided by 25. You also get 1/5. So, R here is 1/5. Right? What about doon sa second sequence of numbers natin? What is R? Same. You do like negative 12 divided by negative 9 or negative 16 divided by negative 12. Sige nga, what do you get? You'll get? What do you get? You will get positive 4/3. Okay, let's do more examples. So, sabi dito, insert 4 geometric means between 25/4 and 8/125. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Ganito lang yon. So, dito yung 25/4. Tapos, mag-i-insert kayo ng 4 na number dito. Or fraction. So, 1, and then 2, 3, 4. Tapos, andito pa yung 8/125. Okay? Geometric means ang tawag doon sa mga numbers between 2 numbers pa. Okay? So, paano tayo mag-i-insert ng numbers dyan? Di ba ang dali kung alam natin ang ratio, yung common ratio? Kasi if we know the common ratio, we simply multiply 25/4 by the common ratio and then we get this. And then after getting this, the second term, we multiply it by the common ratio and then we get the third term. And so on. Right? Pero yun nga, wala tayong common ratio. So, siguro kaya natin siyang hanapin. How? We make use of the formula. Okay? Ano kayang formula yon? You recall, a sub n is equal to a sub 1 r raised to n minus 1. Okay? So, pang ilang term ba ito? Okay? This is the first term, second, third, fourth, fifth, 6th. So, that's the 6th term. So, ito magiging a sub 6 is equal to a sub 1 r raised to 5. Okay? So, what is a sub 6? 8/125. What is a sub 1? 25/4 r raised to 5. Okay? So, to finally get r, we divide both sides by 25/4. 25/4. Okay? So, ito, magka-cancel na yan. Alright? And then, we try to simplify this. Paano yung fraction divided by a fraction? You copy the numerator. So, ito yung nasa numerator. It's 8 over 125. And then, multiplied by the reciprocal of the denominator. So, ang reciprocal niyan, pagbabalik-tarin nyo lang ang numerator and denominator. Okay? And this is equal to r raised to 5. Okay? So, dito ko na ilalagay. Okay? Tingnan nyo tong numerator. Ang 8, this is 2 cube. Okay? It is 2 times 2 times 2. What about 4? This is 2 raised to 2. 2 squared. What is 2 cube times 2 squared? You will have 2 raised to 5. Okay? Divided by, what about this one? The denominators. Yung 25, it is 5 squared. Right? What about 125? This is 5 cube. Okay? This is 5 times 5 times 5. Alright? So, what is 5 cube times 5 squared? It is 5 raised to 5. Okay? Kaya ko siya sinulat ng ganito para madali nating mahanap yung R. Saan equal ang R? It is equal to 2 over 5. Okay? Kinuha natin ang fifth root ng both sides. Okay? So, this is R. So, knowing R equals 2/5, we can easily insert 4 numbers here. Okay? We simply multiply the first term by 2/5. O, tingnan natin kung anong mangyayari. O, multiply this by 2/5. What do you get? You will get, huwag nyo nang palakihin yung number, you can cancel this. What do you get? Tapos ito rin, makakancel din to. Ito magiging 2, ito 1. Ito magka-cancel, magiging 1, ito magiging 5. So, the second term is 5 over 2. Alright? Okay, what about the third term? Multiply this by 2 over 5. Because that's our common ratio. And what do you get? You see? Magka-cancel. And you will get 1. Okay? And then, multiply this again by 2 over 5. What do you get? You simply get 2/5. Okay? So, again, this is the second term. This is the third term. This is the fourth term. Okay? And then, multiply this by 2/5. What do you get? You will have 4 over 25. This is the fifth term. To double check, you may want to multiply this by 2 over 5 and make sure that you will get 8 over 125. And yes, it is 8 over 125. 4 times 2, it's 8. 25 times 5, it's 125. What about for a sub n? It is the preceding term, which is a sub n minus 1 times r. And then, how do you get r? Divide both sides by a sub n minus 1. Right? And you will get a sub n divided by a sub n minus 1. Right? Okay. And take note that in a geometric progression, same lang ang makukuha ninyong r. Okay? So, that's why I write here, r is equal to a sub 2 divided by a sub 1, equal din yon sa a sub 3 divided by a sub 2, at equal din yon dito, a sub n over a sub n minus 1. Okay, let's try this example. So, you're given a sub 2 and a sub 4, and then you're looking for a sub 3. So, mas maganda isulat nyo muna siya sa sequence form niya. Parang ganito. So, 5/4, this is your a sub 2, and then you're looking for a sub 3, and a 4 is given. It's 1/5. Okay? So, parang kagaya to nung kanina. Kaso, isa lang yung i-insert natin. Right? So, mas madali kapag isa lang. Ipa-follow nyo lang yung formula na ito. So, kunyari ito yung A, tapos ito yung B. Okay? Ito lang ang ipa-follow yung formula to get the number between them. Okay? So, ito assuming na geometric progression ang mga ito. So, let me write here. Okay? So, this sequence forms a geometric progression. Okay? Para clear tayo. So, itong formula na ito, kapag maghahanap kayo ng isang number between two numbers at ang i-form nila ay geometric progression. So, to find this term, the middle term, all you have to do is use this formula. The square root of A times B. Okay? Pwedeng positive, pwedeng negative. Alright? So, applying this formula, what do you get? You'll have positive, negative square root of, what is A? 5/4. What is B? 1/5. Okay? So, 5 will cancel out. And what do you get? You'll have positive, negative 1/2. Okay? So, yung nandito is, or it can be positive or negative 1/2. Depende kung ano yung common ratio. Alright? Sige nga, can you give me the common ratio if you have positive 1/2? O kunyari, consider 5/4, 1/2, 1/5. Ano kaya ang common ratio? Okay, o wag nang manghula. There's a formula. How do we get the common ratio? Okay, pwedeng a sub 2 divided by a sub 1. Can be a sub 3 divided by a sub 2, and so on. Okay, so in this problem, your a sub 2 is 5/4. What is a sub 3? Ito yung a sub 3. Positive 1/2. So, you do like 1/2 divided by 5/4. Okay? So, how do you deal with fraction divided by a fraction? Copy the numerator times the reciprocal of the denominator, which is 4/5. Cancel, cancel. This becomes 2. So, your common ratio is 2/5. Okay? So, yun yung i-multiply mo dito to get the next term. So, you may want to check. Multiply this by 2/5. Okay, let's do it. Multiply this by 2/5. So, 5 will cancel out. You're going to get 2/4. What is 2/4 in lowest term? 1/2. Okay? How do we get this term? Multiply 1/2 by 2/5. So, 2 will cancel out and you will get 1/5. Alright? Okay, lastly, what if I ask you to find the sum of these numbers? And if you notice, yung numbers na ito form a geometric sequence. Kasi tinan nyo, 2 times 2, you get 4. 4 times 2, you get 8. 8 times 2, you get 16. 16 times 2, you get 32. 32 times 2, you get 64. 64 times 2, you get 128. So, paano kapag ang pinakuha naman, yung sum or pag-add nyo daw lahat ng yan? Okay? You may use this formula. S sub n, so the sum of the first n terms of a geometric sequence is equal to first term times 1 minus the common ratio raised to the number of terms, kung ilan lahat ito, divided by 1 minus the common ratio. Okay? Applying that, what is a sub 1? 2. And then, 1 minus, what is the common ratio? 2 rin. How many terms do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, we have 7. divided by 1 minus 2. Okay? So, this is your S sub 7. Okay? So, what is 1 minus 2? You get negative 1. So, here you have negative 1 here. This is negative 1. Pwede mo nang itaas yon, yung negative. So, you'll have negative 2 times 1 minus 2 raised to 7. So, if you're allowed to use calculator, you can easily get the value of this. Pero kung hindi, you evaluate 2 raised to 7. Pero madali lang naman yon because 2 raised to 7 is equal to 128. So, what is 1 minus 128? Let me write. So, negative 2 times 1 minus 128. Here, what do you get? You will get, so let me write again. So, negative 2. Here, you'll get negative 127. Okay? So, what is negative 2 times negative 127? So, magiging positive na yan, no? So, positive 254. This is the final answer. So, actually, hindi ganun ka-friendly ang formula kapag geometric progression ang pinag-uusapan. Okay? Oh, please take note here that R cannot be equal to 1. Okay? Kasi kapag nag-1 ito, magzi-0 yung denominator. Well, going back to my statement, hindi ganun ka-friendly ang formula kapag geometric progression ang pinag-uusapan. Okay? Actually, mas isasuggest ko pa nga, you use brute force. What do you mean by brute force? You manually compute na lang. Kunyari, sa example na ito, you just add them. You don't use the formula. Okay? So, let us check nga if we still get 254. So, basta mabilis lang kayong mag-add. Okay, so let's manually add these numbers without using the formula. So, ganito lang mag-add. Itong 2 at saka 8, madali lang. It's 10. Right? Itong 4 and 6, madali lang. 4 and 16, madali lang. It is 20. Sino pa yung magka-partner here? Ano ang 32 and 128? It is 160. So, ito na lang yung naiwan. Right? So, what do you get? 160 plus 20, 180 plus 10, 190. So, 190 plus 64, you will get 254 as well. You see? So, kapag kaya ang brute force, okay, so, you may do it. Okay? Pero kapag allowed naman kayong gumamit ng calculator, of course, you may use this formula. Okay? Kung saan kayo komportable. Okay, I think that's it. Please feel free to ask questions. You may write your questions in the comment section below. Alright? Okay, thank you for watching. See you in my next video.